Hello everyone, this is CJNovo992 and today we're back for another brand new video and we're back in black, and that's not an homage to Amy Winehouse or a certain Johnny Cash. Nah, it is of course a little nod to what could possibly be the funeral of Phil Clement's Rangers managerial career, because that is about as ugly and as bad and pathetic as it gets, as the Aberdeen manager who again came in the summer to a side that was battling relegation, that lost Connor Barron, if you want to throw in that bucket, but more importantly, Majowski, their top goal scorer, the only reason they remained in the division, coming into a new country he's never managed before, versus this Aberdeen side that has been struggling within 3 months. He has got them fitter, he has got them faster, he has got them more organised than we as a side have looked pretty much at any point under the management of Phil Clement. And for me, that is why I sat in front of you yesterday with the preview video I did, and I'll be honest, I did get a wee bit of crap or a wee bit of flack here or there, saying I was being negative toward Rangers and everything. I know I was praising Aberdeen too much. Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, do you understand why now I sat yesterday saying there's a bad feeling in the air, why this game is so dangerous, and why Aberdeen needed that respect? All the talk, they're legit. They're a side that is fast and well organised, and that is shown in the past, especially under the management regime of Clement, is our Achilles heel, because we just don't know what to do if plan A, hoof-body Dessers, isn't working, and that spinning plate has been spinning for far too long, and now we sit, in fact, gone in to November 9 points behind not only Celtic, but 9 points behind the undefeated Aberdeen. You didn't ever want to call for anybody sacked and look at settling on my position to say that, but if you're talking about results, if you're talking about performances, does that deserve it? You're probably looking at it, ladies and gentlemen. The only saving grace that's for Phil Clement right now in terms of his management job is the fact that we probably can't afford to actually sack him, because we're beyond skin toe, and that is negative. That is crap to say, but that's where we are. And look, I know the start of this video has been pretty hard-hitting and pretty blunt, but at the same time, is why should we faff about? I know what the conversation is going to be like online. I know, I mean, I've been doing this for long enough. I've seen this story, I've seen this cycle before. I know how this goes. Now, again, I feel like we've been preparing this now for the last couple months, and it's funny, right? Because usually when I make league prediction videos and everything like that, usually on Twitter or X, whatever they call it these days, it's always clipped and made fun of when this usually happens in your cycle, the decline, the regression, the playing poorly at Rangers. But nobody cares about my league prediction video this year. Do you know why? Because I think I made it pretty damn clear there was zero reasoning behind me picking Rangers to finish top of the league, because even I never believed it. What did I say in the video? I'm just throwing up there. Why? Because I'm a Rangers fan and I'm just being biased on it, because I knew before a ball was kicked there is just something wrong, and I know that got me a lot of flack for being negative at the start of the season, but you could just feel it if you just looked at it fair enough and took your bias out. There was something just wrong. Failed rebuilds, all the stuff off the park. We're supposed to be moving on Tavernier, supposed to be moving on Dessers, and then they're back here again, and then thrusted in to the starting 11, getting played over the future that was brought in to be a part of the project of the rebuild. So we're going into these types of matches on the back of getting embarrassed last week at Kilmarnock, getting a good result in Europe versus the Romanian giants, if you actually will, into this match versus a high-flying Aberdeen side that your starting 11 during a project, during a rebuild, featured 8 of the same starting 11 that was here last year, that was a part of another manager getting sacked after down tools and playing poorly for him as well. That's where we go after a year and a bit of Clement being in the job at Rangers, with Clement and Coppin bringing on all these players. Do you know how many they mustered in to the starting 11 into a must-win game versus Aberdeen? Just 3. Ladies and gentlemen, and I think if you watch the game of football and you see how it unfolded, you saw that the Aberdeen manager just coached circles, being brave enough to make substitutions. I mean, Sockler, who I did call Scholar, by the way, a couple of times, and yesterday video, I do apologise, but again, when you do long-form content, sometimes you say something wrong, you didn't notice till after the recap, and I wasn't going to go and refilm the entire thing. People that's watched this channel before has heard me call him Sockler before instead of Scholar, but just one of these things. But he was having a game. He was feasting. Now, maybe he was on a yellow card and that played into it, but the manager was big enough to say, right, let's take him off. Duke was absolutely sitting Tavernier in a fryer, yet he took him off to keep the energy up, to keep pressurising and being brave. We substitutions, well, we're sitting here with Phil Clement watching us going 2-1 down late into the game of football, needing a goal, persisting with Dessers, who apparently played 82 minutes. The day with 3 right backs on the park, 2 holding midfielders and an attacking line, it's as slow as a weekend. In the cells, just being stuck and scared to make the big changes. He's not had the balls to drop Tavernier with playing as poorly as he's played all season. He's not been big enough to drop Dessers and everything like that. He's picked and choosed his battles far too remotely, in my personal opinion. He's weird agenda versus the Todd Cantwell, ripping him off and embarrassing him in one of his early games. All the stuff that went on behind the scenes there. His treatment of certain other players that he's threw under the bus, the likes of the Raskins, the Scotty Wright, who, again, wasn't a world beater. I'm not saying anybody I've mentioned actually is, but the treatment of that was absolutely coddling crap and rewarding crap in terms of Tavernier's individual performances, Lawrence's performances for a lot of it before he started getting into that little shine there. You had Diamandi's iffy performances, you had the centre-backs issues as well. You've had, and obviously, big Cyril Dessers, who's now went 7 games without a goal, and he reminded everyone today why you cannot rely on a Cyril Dessers, because even when it was up and cooking last year for Clement, when we were truly having a managerial bounce, when it all started to unfold, what came clear to us? It was time to move Tavernier on, because we need to get better defensively as we're conceding too many goals and too many chances down that side. And Cyril Dessers can't be relied on to take the 1 or 2 chances in the big and important matches to put the game away. We saw it last year versus Ross County with the chances they had even when we were 1-0 up in that game. You saw it versus Dundee, you've seen it versus Celtic, and that bled into this season as well. And today, ladies and gentlemen, when the scoreline was somehow 1-1, and we were actually on the ascendancy early in the second half, we had a major opportunity as the ball came into the mixer, to be fair, from Tavernier. He puts it about 8 yards box, it drops right to Dessers that just needs to hit it, and he's burst the back in net, and we are stealing a 2-1 lead round about the 75th minute of the game. But what did he do? He tried to take a touch, he lost it, and where was the ball 90 seconds later? It was in the back of our net for a defensive mistake for Tavernier. Say what you want about the game, coddle and protect whoever you want, ladies and gentlemen, but that's the story of the game, that's the story of the season, and that's been the story for Rangers far too long. Not having somebody up front that can put the ball in the back of the net in the effective and the clinical moments we need it to, and being good enough defensively to keep it round when we're no scoring enough goals. It's the same stuff that's been here for numerous years. We've done nothing. Clearly, no matter what money we've spent or the players we've brought in, because we just relied on the majority that was here last year that was a part of Beale getting sacked. Does anybody see any sense in this? And look, for me, despite my frustrations and obviously my annoyance towards Phil Clement's lack of style, identity, tempo, or adapting to anything remotely close to Scottish football, I do still feel a little bit bad about him, and I do still need to admit that yes, a lot of these players has threw yet another manager under the bus, because that's what that performance was. No for all of them, as there were some of them that actually tried and gave it all, but I'm not going to sit here and happy clap 3 players out of starting 11 playing to an acceptable level when you wear a Rangers shirt. There is players in there that's been part of the exact same cycle. Manager sacked, playing well. Manager sacked, playing well. It's up and down, and that is who Clement has put his trust into. Dessers and Tav's been a part of a lot of them, right? You got rid of Connor Goldson, if you will, but there were still a lot of them in there, and you see he was building his new project on the foundations that are so shaky that it's cost previous managers their jobs. So a lot of this is also on the players' lack of effort, the lack of work rate, and whatever the hell they're actually trying to do. Maybe the lack of spirit, fight and beliefs, probably the best way to actually do it. But at the same time, ladies and gentlemen, you've got to turn a look at Phil Clement and say the man was well warned before he came into the job, whilst he was in the job, to make the changes required, and there was plenty of warning signs, but he's stuck by his guns, he's stuck by the players, and he put his faith in players who have failed previous managers, And that's what we're here to talk about today. The exact same scenario happening again, as these players he's put his trust into has now failed him. And by the looks of it, or the sound of it at least, it'll probably end up costing him his job. So there's a lot of blame to go about. Yes, the board's on an absolute shambles, and yes, his club's ran absolutely horrendously, but that doesn't mean the guys in empty offices in the building at Ibrox or near Govan doesn't dictate the tempo, a style, a work rate, an actual plan on the park. That's on the manager, and if he can't get it for the likes of some of the players we've mentioned, he's then got to be brave enough to drop them out and really rebuild this club for the bottom up, if you actually will. He's had plenty opportunities. You gave him at the start of the season, you gave him the first international break, getting our scants pulled down. We tried one more time with the old guard. Have they got enough? We are sprinkling fresh ideas. It was quite clear they've no got enough. So we came back for the first international break saying, right, this is the perfect opportunity to start laying down the bricks. Right, we're probably not going to win anything this year, but let's make the changes required, slowly but surely move us up, and by the time we next play Celtic in January, we should be a much, much better, fitter, younger side. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the one thing you can say that's been consistent about Phil Clement's Rangers side and these players under Phil Clement is the way that they are slowly but surely regressing from even what they were last season. And last season wasn't good enough to win the league title. We are significantly worse now, and the league table backs me up on that one, as we sit 9 points behind Aberdeen in November. And obviously I'm voicing my frustration and I'm voicing my displeasure and obviously the Rangers side, but again, if you are still watching, you want to know how Aberdeen play. Aberdeen were brilliant, but again, we spoke about that yesterday. We gave them their praise, we gave them their flowers, if you want to use the old terms folk see these days. The way Aberdeen approached this game with the hard work, rolling up the sleeves, diving into every challenge, trying to win 50-50, putting their head on every single ball, doesn't surprise me. Nor does it surprise me that we didn't do any of that, as that's been the big problem. And again, to summarise how I'm feeling about this game and the season so far, and possibly Phil Clement's managerial career in terms of being Rangers, I am not surprised that a team that's made up of the majority of the players that's failed in previous season to turn up to big games, stand up and fight when their manager's up against it, and be accounted for when your team and your fans really need you. I'm not surprised a team that's made up the majority of them is limped into this game of football, failed to turn up for another big game, failed to come out and fight for their manager, and came out and fought for the team and the fans. This is the cycle, this is the crop, and this is what we needed to get rid of in the summer. And it's why I've sat here and been a little bit different so far this season with my discussion of this team. Young project, this. If you want, let's stop doing the BS. Let's not get lost in press conferences. Let's not get lost in the way we like players or like managers. It's the exact same players that is playing. Only 3 new young laddies played the day. The rest is the same stuff that keeps failing us, and we're getting the same results. Hopefully someone finally clicks in. But again, I'm saying all this with the discussion point, gonna be Clement. But again, am I thinking he will definitely be sacked? Nah, I didn't think so, because again, I don't think we can afford to sack him unless he's willing to actually leave. But I just fear for where we are as a club and where we are on both and off the park, that this is going to be a long bumpy ride of the season. And this isn't an anomaly, this isn't a bad bit of form, this isn't something that could be fixed like this. This is unfortunately who we are now, and it's going to be a long season, as the squad has been butchered of any real creativity. It's emotionless robots. It's just sticking to a task. It's sticking to whatever the game plan is of just letting people run right by you. They're not fit enough. They're not fast enough. There's no pace. There's no threat off the bench. There is nothing quite there of the creativity that will require you to go ahead and win things and be successful. So will we spot a good results, bad results, spot a good results, bad results, and where I think we're going to go until, again, we maybe make a managerial change, or Phil Clement actually just comes out here and makes the changes that should have been made 2 months ago. But the latter's no happened when he's had plenty of opportunities to do it. So I don't know where we go for here, ladies and gentlemen, but I'm preparing myself, and I've been trying to prepare a lot of people who tune in and take their time, which I'm very thankful for watching the channel. I've been trying to prepare people, as the writing's been on the wall for a while, ladies and gentlemen. This team, is just rotten. But I get into the game recap. It was some display even before a ball was kicked from the Aberdeen perspective, as they let them know how important this game was from the fans to the players, and the players responded in just if they gave absolute everything almost from the first whistle. But again, where I give credit to Aberdeen, I'm sitting looking at a starting 11 again under Clement, no understanding what the hell we're actually doing. You know what I mean? Dessers is rewarded for no scoring in his last 6 games and being dreadful annoy them by getting a start in a must-win game. We didn't play Nana at left centre back, right centre back, which I think we might do to try and obviously impact and change Sockler, but we didn't do that. In fact, we bump him to left back, where again, yes, he was man of the match versus Malmo, but if you remember us talking about that, that was a great wee one-off, that was a great wee taster, but he's not left back. He's a right back or a centre back, and that's where I wanted to see him. But he was played at left back, and the reason he was because a physio told Clement our 20-year-old left back was a little bit tired. Now again, I'm not going to try and lose my mind here because someone done PE at college, but the fact that we are going into a game of this magnitude and rotating and maybe cutting the legs of our only real bright area of the games and of our play, Hefty, Big Jeff, if you want to call him that, and bajrami, that's been it. You know what I mean? That's been the only side. The ball goes to bajrami, he plays a ball to Jeff, Jeff usually puts in, he's got a bit of pace. That's been our only real bright spark and our only real out ball when we've been playing absolutely guff. And it's mental that we've went into this game chopping that out because he's a little bit tired. Do you know what I mean? At least start him for the game, then make the substitution, but start with your best players. No shuffle the decks. Again, now Cherny one I'll be a wee bit more forgiving because again, he was ill or a little bit of an injury, whatever one you want to go down with, and your hands are obviously tied. But again, I feel like we're making our own self-inflicted nonsense. You lose Cherny, right? That's a fair one, considering how well he's been playing. But he then didn't go and put wee Ross in there and throw him under the bus, and he was absolutely god-awful the day. I know he did score an offside goal, thanks for that, Dessers, we greatly appreciate you being here. But again, we've talked about it too many times now on the channel. Ross is an impact substitute player when players are tired and are more likely to make mistakes. When he starts games, he disappears, frustrates, it kills his confidence, it kills his belief, and you could argue he was probably one of Aberdeen's better players in the first half before he was ranked and ripped of any confidence he's built up over the last couple of weeks, getting pulled off again at half-time. That's just bad management to me. I just didn't understand why. But how many more times do we need to see it? How many times do we need to keep repeating it? He's no ready to start games. You know what I mean? Never mind at Pittodrie versus this Aberdeen side. We were what? Was at stake? It's just madness. It's just mind-numbing. As soon as I seen the starting 11 again, I was gut punched, and I'm sick of doing it. I just want to see our best players, or the best possible players, actually play, or the players that are actually playing well get into 11. Why are we playing guys and rewarding guys that aren't playing well? And I sit and look at the likes of Dessers. Sorry again for mentioning him, but he's a perfect example of this, because if you watch the games, you know what I mean. Dessers is just falling about now. I don't know what's happened to him the last 2 months. I don't know if something's been said to him or if he's threw his toys at the pram, or maybe it was when he reacted that way to the fans in the Champions League game versus Kiev. He's not been the same now. Instead of getting stuck in what he was showing for the first couple games of the season, he's floating, he's moaning, he's greeting to the referee, and I sit and watch that, right? The fawn down and the my face, all that stuff, right? And I'm seeing him no get back up and do the press. I'm seeing him sitting down and stand like this and go like this all the time and blame everybody else for his same mistakes. He maybe learned that for Tavernier, right? So he's sitting doing that, and then you're watching that. So that's the press broken because he's not there. So then Lawrence needs to come and cover what Dessers is pressing, which leaves a gap. That means Connor Barnes got to come out here, Raskin's got to there, and there's a massive gap. And then you've got Tom Lawrence that can't move anyway. A mobility scooter would beat this guy in a race, so you're losing that legs there, and you're just getting completely overrun. And whatever tactic or game plan we went in with, it's completely null and void. And I just look at all that moaning and feeling sorry for themselves, and it just summarises my overall feelings with a lot of these players. They're alright when everything's gone their way, you know what I mean? They love it and they're pointing to the thing, they're doing all this and everything like that, but when we need them to fight for this and get up and run their arse in, they just bail instantly. We see it all the time. That's the cycle. That's what we keep seeing, ladies and gentlemen. It's just a summary. Just watch games. Go back and watch this Aberdeen game and watch Dessers do that. Then watch Lawrence get fed up with him. Then they're arguing with each other rather than chasing. And then Barron's got to come out here. Raskin's got to here. Ross is running about like a blue earth flea. Bajrami's getting wasted on the left because, again, he's no a left winger. And it's just absolute mental. See the way I'm describing it? That's the way it looks. And it's so easy to play against. I've never done anything. The warning signs have been there, even at the start of the season. The loss to Celtic was a major one. But the performance at Tynecastle, the performance at Ibrox versus Hibs, the performance versus Leon, if you will, in that aspect, even the way we limped over the line versus FC, SB, and the way we performed versus St Mirren and Kilmarnock, it's all been there for far too long, and that's not even taking into consideration the way we folded and bottled the league last year after being handed a great opportunity. We've just ignored it. We've kept kicking the can down the road. And unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, we are reaping what we're sowing as we gave all our hopes and dreams into players that when the tough gets gone, they disappear. But I am supposed to be recapping the game, so let's get into it then, shall we? The first 15 minutes actually had a little bit of a moment after a great long ball from John Souttar down to the right. Ross McCausland does get on the ball now. He just clips the ball to Dessers, and Dessers flicks it onto his left foot, but it's a powder puff shot and it goes nowhere as it hits the back of Nicky Devlin, who wore him like a pair of pyjamas once again. But it was a wee bit bright, but again, Dessers' finish is just someone that's got zero confidence. It looks like a guy that's not scored in 7 games. Thanks for playing him. And a must-win game. And again, one of my frustrations was in the 7th minute, despite the pressure of Aberdeen winning a couple set pieces, was nothing major in the first 8 minutes. In fact, it was us that broke down the left-hand side as Nana got to the left, putting a great ball into the box, and there's not a single Rangers player in the entire 18-yard box of Aberdeen 8 minutes into the game, because again, our game plan is to sit off. It's to be back. It's almost to play it safe. We have absolutely regressed and lost every bit of identity of what we actually were. That we're putting a ball in the mixer and there's nobody in the box at all. Like, explain that one to me. But I guess I've spoken enough negativity about Rangers. Let's give a wee bit of positivity to Aberdeen, because they certainly deserve it. They started to salt and pepper us in the game of football. The first major opportunity came in the 9th minute, a couple minutes after Nabday was in the box. As the ball goes into the middle, I think it's Shinnie that hits a long ball to Sockler, who's running off the left centre back of Rangers. You know what I mean? Did anybody talk about it? You know what I mean? I'm sitting here as an idiot and I wear that badge proudly. I spoke about that yesterday, saying that is a matchup. That is what he's going to do. How were we so surprised and shocked about it? If I could see it, you know what I mean? It's not just me. Everybody could see what they were going today, apart from the ones actually in charge. It's a long ball and Leon Balogun's up there battling him. He ends up kind of falling over. There's a possible pull down of the Balogun shot, but again, it's just one of these things you play to the whistle and they end up playing it into the mixer where the shot is actually well blocked by Tavernier defensively, or that's 1-0 as Jack Butland is beat, and it's pretty much a tap-in. That was your warning sign to go, right, wake up now, let's adjust to Sockler's pace that everybody knew was the weapon coming into it. But of course we didn't learn a lesson, and Sockler gets down the left hand side of Rangers once again, puts in a ball into the mixer, but thankfully Duke doesn't react quickly enough. He's got a wee bit of Desseritis, if you will, bit on his old heels, and he's no there to tap it into the back, and it is Tavernier's lost Duke again. Do you know what I mean? I'm not getting in it. The next major opportunity was Jamie McGrath again from a free kick this time. Hits one for about 25 yards out and maybe goes a whisker wide, and you're sitting here feeling like Muhammad Ali versus Larry Holmes at the minute. You know what I mean? You're just taking punches after punch after punch after punch. You're saying, how do we get absolutely battered off Aberdeen? We don't look remotely like anything apart from hoofball to Dessers that's getting flung about. Like, honestly, I'm going to introduce a new drinking game. Now, drink responsibly, ladies and gentlemen, but take a drink every time a Rangers team under Phil Clement just hoofs a ball to Dessers and just wants them to win it, despite Dessers being absolutely manhandled by defenders. Do it and enjoy yourself rather than watching it. The 26th minute sees Ross McCausland make a massive mistake on the ball after a wee bit of consistent passing the ball to play. I think he just lost his seat. He picked up a silly yellow card. Tavernier's trying to bomb by him. He tries to play it to Tavernier, but it's miles behind. That gives an easy counter-attack, and it's a gorgeous through ball. I think it's from McKenzie. This one, he plays it into Sockler again, who's running off the back in the left centre-back at Rangers, but this time, to be fair, Leon Balogun gets just enough, because honestly, when I first seen it, I went, oh, he's going to get sent off, but VAR ends up showing that he gets the ball cleanly, and what a challenge, what a save save, and what a warning sign that is. Again, but we didn't learn a lesson, ladies and gentlemen, and stop me if you've heard me say this one before. A cross comes from the right-hand side of Rangers as Tavernier doesn't get anywhere near to stopping the cross. The cross gets flicked on as, I can't remember who it is, sorry, I do apologise. They beat Suter in the air, headers it to the back post, was a 2-on-1 versus Nana. It's in the back of net as Nicky Devlin, the goal scoring threat, if you will, has put the ball into the back of net to give Aberdeen the goal they well and truly deserve. Skipping over a wee bit because this video is going to be far too long. You've then got Duke taking Tavernier for a walk down the side. I think he flicks over it, almost Davy Cooper-esque, if you actually will. Then puts one into the mixer that ends up going out for a corner, and after a wee bit of crossing-itis, it ends getting fired in, to Suter, who tries to header it down but makes yet another handball. And what's that? Is that 3 or 4 handball penalties this man's gave away? Now, I know people's going to be saying, oh, it's a wee bit harsh or anything like that, but I think it's the fact that his arm, again, goes up, which was my same feelings, I think, of the last one that he gave away. I think if he keeps his arms down and by his side, he's maybe getting away with it, but it's just the fact that his arm goes up just a little bit, and it's just the way the modern day is with VAR and everything like that, right? Was it a handball 5 years ago? No, it wasn't, because obviously it's too close to the body and everything like that, but his hand's gone up, ladies and gentlemen. It's a penalty kick, and you have to accept them when they come, and up steps Jamie McGrath again, getting on the old penalty, but it's another fantastic save for Jack Butland to keep the players that's filled their knick-knacks in the game of football, as Jack Butland makes his second penalty save in 2 domestic games to give this team at least a chance to get back into it. And after some more shots, ladies and gentlemen, Shinnie then hits the post from a volley outside the box. Again, it's just shot, it's corner after corner, it's shot after shot, and then somehow, some way, we actually get the ball to bajrami. Instead of focusing it and trying to funnel it down the right hand side to wee Ross McCausland, who again, I'm not picking on here, but do you know why he's in space and why bajrami's getting man-marked? Yes, you do, ladies and gentlemen. Aberdeen are letting the ball go there because they didn't fear the young laddie. They fear bajrami, but we kept just focusing on it down that side, focusing it down that side. But one of the few times it did go round to the bajrami, besides him running the ball to play, looking like Waghorn, by the way, it did get on the ball. It gets down the left-hand side after Dessers tries to run in behind his man, but the defender clears it. Quite similar to the goal that Cherny scored. Dessers is there, but he doesn't actually do anything. But the ball goes to bajrami, it gets his head up, plays a wonderful ball to the back post where wee Ross McCausland has scored a goal that definitely covers all the howlers he's had so far in the game of football. And you're thinking, my God, we've won a watch. How are we level in this game? It should actually be out of sight, and then you see the VAR go up, then you're seeing a VAR check, and then you're seeing offside, and you just know who it is. It's Dessers. Now again, it's extremely tight if you want to look at it, and again, the eagle-eyed people in the audience can look at it and say this or say this, but I'm not going down conspiracy theories and that, ladies and gentlemen. If VAR lines say it's off, it's off. That's the way I'm actually taking it, you know what I mean? Cry wolf, if you will. He's offside enough. He's offside once again, and it's the only real impact Dessers had on the game until the 75th minute, which we've already spoken about. But aye, that was it for half-time. We go into half-time at Battered in a must-win game. Reactionary to this, just been beat off Kilmarnock, limped over the line versus man. All this stuff that we heard, we're going to do this, we're going to give it this, we're going to, for this, we conceded more shots on our goal than any other domestic game that Rangers have played in since 2017, versus Celtic. That's what we limped to. That's what we allowed this Aberdeen side today, because we just didn't have enough. Yet, I can't believe what I'm witnessing, ladies and gentlemen. Clement tried to come out and say it's been one of our best seasons. Like, oh my God. The standards are through the floor right now. And I'm really, really worried about where we're going to go as a club. If this is getting praised, ladies and gentlemen, there's just none. There's going to be no reaction, because what's he saying to the players? Do you know what I mean? Oh, he's protecting the players' feelings by saying that. Come on now, you get in the game, is he? Is he protecting the players' feelings that are throwing him under the bus? Again, psycho. But as we mentioned, Ross McCausland was the one to be flung under the bus, so everybody can start to say, oh, well, Cherny wasn't playing, and start trying to make a wee bit of excuses. Ross McCausland ends up coming off for Dujon Sterling, which means now, ladies and gentlemen, being 1-0 down at Battered, we have 3 right-backs on the park. And you know the one that's at right-back is the one that's worse defensively. Honestly, this club would break you. Man, you need to be really strong to be a Rangers fan, because the stuff we do are mental, especially when you say it loud and say, aye, there is 3 right backs playing, and the only one getting played in his position is the worst one defensively, and we're no wonder we're conceding the goals. But I'll be honest, we did see a little bit of response, and I think Aberdeen started to get a little bit nervous as they said, wait a minute, we're through everything. At that they were playing well, a lot of people's going to be talking about. They got a little bit more defensive, that allowed us to settle on the ball. Bajrami then creates a massive opportunity in the 47th minute from a short corner as he puts it right on the money, what Dujon Sterling can't get on target. You then had Raskin buzzing about winning the ball, driving at the box, firing one across it, but it's too easy for the goalkeeper. Do you know why? Because our centre forwards away at the back post behind about 4. But there's no movement at all. There's just nothing there to make it difficult. Maybe knock one into the back of net, make it difficult for the goalie. No, I'm just going to hide here. This is what this Rangers team is. I'm just going to hide here and then just complain when it doesn't magically go through 4 players. The regression, not only in their defence and midfield, but the way our strike force is looking is frightening. And I'm not going back to Morelos when he was on. I'm not going back to Roof when he was able to stay fit and wasn't made of glass that season we won the league. I'm not even talking about Jermaine Defoe, Cedric Kitten or anything. I'm talking about Cholak. The difference in where we are now, and we've spent 5 times as much than what we kicked Cholak at the door for. There's just been so many baffling decisions. There's just nothing there. And wee things like that you might have forgot about. But please go back and look at that. Somebody driving into the box and your centre forward sitting behind 4 Aberdeen defenders as if it's just going to magically go all the way to him instead of being proactive, getting on his toes and make it difficult. It's so lazy and laboured. And honestly, I feel like those 2 words I just said there perfectly summarises the way this team performs. But again, when we're getting the ball to Bajrami, and it was absolutely zero surprise that we started to play well. He's already created a major opportunity, then creates another as he gets on the ball, plays a wonderful ball to Dujon Sterling inside the box. He fakes it in and tries to hit it short. Again, it's a good ball, it's in a good area, and Dujon Sterling looks like a defensive minded player as he can't score that. It's almost like he's a defender, innit? Yeah. Almost is. But again, Bajrami was putting the team well and truly on the back, and after a good through ball from Tom Lawrence, you've got to give all the credit to Bajrami as it goes down the left-hand side of Aberdeen. He runs it, his man Nicky Devlin's sort of good, especially in a 1v1 defender, but he skins away from the midfielder that's trying to help him out and scores beautifully into the back of net to give us a very, very unlikely equaliser. But if you watch from about the 48th minute to the moment we scored just after the 55th minute, you're sitting there looking at it saying, yeah, okay, we're maybe got this here. Aberdeen will look nervous. We're building the incidency. Let's keep this up. Maybe make a substitution. Let's be proactive. Take the duffers off the park and give this club a chance to move forward. But we didn't do that, ladies and gentlemen. The only real worth of note just now was a long-range effort from Tom Lawrence as he gets a wee bit of the old head rush after a breakaway and ends up hitting it when there's probably a better pass to Bajrami, but again, he doesn't see it. He goes for a shot and you're thinking, right, at least we're doing something right. Let's really get after it. And again, it was building. We just needed that chance. And again, the chance came, the clear-cut opportunity in the 75th minute of this game. Dujon Sterling to Tavernier. Tavernier whips it in to the mixer. Lawrence leaves it. It drops 8 yards out to our centre forward, coming perfectly onto a ball at pace. Does he just smack it into the back? And I'd have took him hitting it out of the bar. I really would have, rather than what he's actually done when he's tried to take a touch. And again, from the exact moment he took the touch and killed that killed this game. Despite how bad we were, we had a chance to go 2-1 in there. And again, you don't know what this game ends up finishing. But again, the punishment is what the punishment's been over the last couple of seasons, relying on players that can't take the big moments. They can't be true, great Rangers players. As Dessers takes the touch, they get away from it. They go down the park and end up scoring again from a bit of a disaster class as the ball comes in the left-hand side, the right-hand side of Rangers. The ball gets fired and Tavernier takes a bit of a labour touch. The ball doesn't go out, and you could maybe look at it as being unlucky, but see, when you've seen it 50 times in the last 2 years, is it unlucky or is it just what happens? Do you know what I mean? What my thing was his reaction. After he gets the touch, he just doesn't react at all, and it ends up going through the goalkeeper, ends up hitting off the post, falls back to, I think it's Ambrose that scores, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry, my mind has gone blank, but they've tapped in. After all the pressure for Rangers, we created the chance to take the lead, but we've got the wrong player on the park yet again that showed us that last season, that showed us it over the last 6 games. He is not in form. He is not that guy anyway. Chance goes, they take theirs, and that was the story of the game. Now, there was wee couple half chances. You had a Tavernier corner that was headed by Dujon Sterling, who again should smash it into the back of net. But at the same time, is that enough? Is that what we're going to cheer? Is this a good performance? Again, the manager's coming out and saying it, ladies and gentlemen, but I just can't get on board with it. Maybe I need to sleep it off. Maybe I'm being too harsh on the players. Maybe I'm being too harsh on the manager. But I really didn't think so. We just keep pretending it's going to get magically better, whilst other managers with less resources and bigger problems to actually face in terms of putting a quality together, you're doing it. And we're watching these managers come here and absolutely outcoach and manage circles around Clement. I've seen someone's comment saying it's unfair to say that when we've got European football, we've got the pressures and everything like that. That's fair if you want to say the pressures and everything. Well, Aberdeen are undefeated, and it was heavily publicised this week that it was all or nothing for Aberdeen. Are they the real deal? Are they got this? That is pressure on them. And look at the way they responded to the pressure, and look at the way we always replying. So I don't think it is harsh to say we were outmanaged and outfought and outworked today. I really feel like it was just facts from the game, and I'm very, very disappointed, but am I surprised? Of course not. Ladies and gentlemen, we've been talking about this and discussing it for numerous months, even going back to pre-season when everyone was calling negative and bringing a bad atmosphere and just being overly negative for no reason. Well, I'm not sitting here saying, oh, I told you sorry, that's not what I'm about. We're just football fans here discussing it. It wasn't just me. We knew there was something wrong and it wasn't looking too great, but we ignored it. We'd never done anything. We never adjusted anything. We're making the same mistakes. We're getting the same results. Again, insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. I've never heard a better phrase to summarise this football club in the managerial and player merry-go-round that we actually go in. But that's it, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not going to come out here and say, oh, it was a good performance for A, B, C or D. There was a couple of players like the likes of bajrami and all that that done alright, but it's not enough as a collective. There's not enough true Rangers players in their enemy, and yeah, the standards are through the floor. The progression we're meant to be seeing is just regression, and I fear it's just going to get worse because again, we're not making the team, we're not putting any foundations in it. It isn't the young laddies, it isn't the new guys that's been signed. Only 3 of them are making it in, and we're just trying to build on top of what doesn't actually work. But I'll probably repeat myself far too many times. I know this is extremely late and I'll be getting uploaded extremely late, but again, let me know your thoughts and opinions down there in the comment section below. It was a bad result that I think a lot of us were actually expecting, but it doesn't make it any easier. What about you? Let me know your thoughts and opinions on Clement, the players, and where we go from here. That'd be greatly appreciated. But until next time, I've been Siege Roman into. Thank you so much for watching. All the best, and bye-bye.